Salute. We're live. The streets are buzzing. Welcome into the show. How's everyone doing? Hope you're well. Great to be with you as always. Got a fun show, lots to talk about. As our New York Knicks continue their FIBA action, Canada picked up a huge win to qualify for the Olympics and for the quarterfinals. We'll talk about Team USA's loss to Lithuania, and is that a wake-up call? But Jalen Brunson, in 23 minutes, 14 points, helped the team out, 7 assists. But this FIBA action, it's getting tough right now as we get to the thick of the competition. We'll talk about it and more. Tonight's show, salute to the chat, salute replay gang. How are we feeling? Great to be with you as always. And man, great show plan. We've got lots to talk about. As I said, Canada, for the first time in like 25 years, I think since 2000, they've qualified for the Olympics. So first and foremost, congratulations to RJ Barrett, Team Canada. Great accomplishment. And another come from behind win against Spain. The might of Spain, it was tough. And RJ Barrett played 31 minutes, 16 points, 5 rebounds, and he was giddy. We'll hear from RJ Barrett. We'll hear from Jalen Brunson post-game. After Team USA's first loss of the tournament, they're still alive. They could afford a loss, but they're still through to the quarterfinals. From a Knick perspective, from my perspective, it's great that the competition gets tougher. And, the reason why these guys are in this competition and giving up their summer is to win the medal and to, take this competition seriously. And, man, did Lithuania play great. Congratulations to them for beating Team USA. You post up, you got some big men that can rebound. They shot the ball extremely well. And Team USA, Anthony Edwards, made a furious comeback as well. We'll talk about it. We'll look at the box scores. We'll look at the shot chart from our Knicks. But yeah, how we feeling, chat? Knicks Nation, how are we doing? Of course, we'll talk about Rokas Jokubaitis, New York Knicks draft rights with Lithuania, starting point guard of Lithuania for this tournament. 5-0 Lithuania right now, doing so great, showing what he can do as just a 22-year-old, 23-year-old. And I want to get everyone's thoughts on Rokas' performance. We know, the New York Knicks are stacked at the guard spot, like the chat said. But yeah, it was impressive to show, the growth that he's showing, because we haven't really seen Rokas up close since, was it Summer League? And, he looked pretty good in Summer League. He's got the tools you kind of want to see in a lead guard. He's got size. He's shooting the ball incredibly well. He's shooting like 50% from 3 this tournament. Shot really well from 3 in Europe this past season. So we're kind of seeing, his evolution now. And I think he will make it to the NBA. Like I'm sold at some point. He will find his way to the NBA, whether it's with the Knicks or whether he's, traded in the future. But, another layer on top of our drafting, and the Knicks bringing in, acquiring more talent, which is great. But salute to the chat, Hulu, Andrew, Dirty Dancer, Sharp Powers, what's good, Prometheus. What are your thoughts first and foremost on Team USA's loss? We'll start there, and we'll talk about then Canada and RJ Barrett. But yeah, with Team USA, obviously, I've spoken about they had a pretty easy group stage. New Zealand kind of hung with them for a quarter. Then it was Jordan, they blew out in the final game. And then it was Greece with no Giannis. So, Team USA looked really good, handled their business so far. Lithuania, though, presented a different challenge because their size, Jonas Valanciunas, they absolutely killed them on the glass. They moved the ball really well. I don't know if you guys have been seeing Latvia, but Latvia has really impressed me. That their ball movement has been on another level. If you guys saw Lithuania Latvia also won their big game as well because of ball movement and shooting. They knocked off Brazil. So, yeah, it just goes to show, these teams are kind of well-oiled. They're well-coached. If you shoot the ball well and you can rebound, you defend decent, you got a chance in FIBA. They are letting a lot of foul calls, they are letting a lot of fouls go. I will say that. We are seeing how different the FIBA game is. Like, I saw Australia versus Slovenia, and also Slovenia lose to Germany. But let's say in the NBA, you breathe on Luka, and it's a foul. Any ticky-tack touch, and it's an instant foul call. But in FIBA, they're definitely letting you bump the guy, especially if the offensive player bumps into you. They're letting that initial contact go as well. And that can put offensive players off their spot as well. So, this is a different challenge. Don't look at the numbers so much as like, not only are the games shorter, but the competition's tough as well. Now, Jalen Brunson's coming off 23 minutes, 14.7 assists. So he did help the USA get some critical buckets at times, got to the line, got to the cup. The pleasing thing is, the 7 assists. He, allowed the ball to move. Ant-Man obviously needed to score late in a flurry to catch up. But Josh Hart's 13 minutes, he pulled off no points and 2 rebounds. So, Josh Hart didn't have it going. But this was a tough game. What did you guys see from it? Dirty says Lithuania shot ridiculously well, and the bad rebounding roster construction caught up to them. I also saw a stat where it's Triple J, I think, hasn't rebounded well. And if I read correctly, it says he hasn't pulled off a rebound in like 3 games, which was absolutely eye-opening. But that just goes to speak to Lithuania's size also. No Sabonis as well. No Domantas Sabonis. They posted up Austin Reeves, and they were getting some inside-out action. And man, were their shooters like, you can't give them any daylight. And they were just getting it up so easy, especially in the corner. That corner 3 ball is super short. You guys know we talked about it in the lead-up shows, how close the FIBA 3-point line is. Let me tell you, it's even closer than it looks on TV. The court is super small with these giants out here. But you shoot well, you rebound well, and you can beat anyone. Now, on the positive side for Brunson and Team USA, you want to get this kind of loss out of the way now. They're still alive. Quarterfinals are commencing. We'll talk about who plays who. But you want to get this kind of loss out of the way and move on. And with that said, it's actually worked out more favorably, believe it or not, in my opinion. Don't know how you guys feel, but Team USA have drawn Italy. Now they've avoided obviously playing the other 2 teams, which would have been Serbia. Would have been Serbia and Canada on the road to the final. So they stay on the other side of the bracket by losing to Lithuania, and they've just got to beat Italy, and then they've got to beat the winner of Germany and Latvia to get through to the final, the gold medal game. So, I think that worked out well. Did they try to win the game? Absolutely. I don't think they tanked or they blew that game purposely. Italy's still going to be a challenge, but Italy blew out Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic, so they're surprising me. They're surprising some people, but I think that'll be a better matchup. Jalen Brunson, we know his size can limit him sometimes with the physical nature. He's a shorter, smaller guard. I feel like Brunson's best spot is in the mid-range where he can go to work and he can, get his points that way. But the 7 assists solid overall. So I'm happy with that. And I will just take a peep at where Brunson got his looks before we look at the box score. See, there you see, he had 1 3 on the elbow, missed the other 3. and he had a couple of looks here close up, a couple of driving layups as well. So fairly efficient night from Jalen Brunson. Didn't play a lot late in the game. I think Tyrese's size was something that Steve Kerr looked at. With that said, but yeah, that does mean that USA and Canada can now meet in the final after this loss. Yeah. What's good, JJ? Salute. USA got hurt on the offensive boards. Lithuania got big baskets off those offensive rebounds. Yeah. Lithuania did get a little lucky with the 3-point shots too. A couple of late beating the shot clock violations. Former Nick Mindaugas Kuzminskas, that was a heave, man. He barely looked at the bucket with that one over Ant Edwards as well. And they were getting some foul calls as well. What's good, Sharp Power? Salute, appreciate you. Yeah, rocking the Woo York Knicks cap. It's a Wu-Tang Knicks collabo. I'm going to find the... I remember buying it online on a website. I'll hook you up. What's good, Shannon? Salute, Hulu. Dirty says, in general, I think Lithuania guys translate the best to the NBA. Yeah, they've got a rich tradition in basketball, you know, with Sabonis' father, Arvydas Sabonis. Yeah, a good mixture of size, movement, and shooting as well. But yeah, in general, that region has always been strong in basketball. Always given the USA some challenges, but this is only the third win in their program's history against Team USA. So salute to them. It was a meaningless win, you know, a meaningless loss for USA in the grand scheme of things, and I think they'll learn. They'll learn a lot from it, I think. What else did you guys notice? My observations from the game. You know, yeah, I'm not here to talk about Rokas all night, but yeah, he, you know, the pressure, he dealt with the pressure, the on-ball pressure that Team USA did when they buckled down. I must admit, I was thinking that Lithuania would blow the game. I've seen that story all before. I've seen, you know, Team USA just start to, you know, turn up the D a notch, you know, and force a lot of turnovers. And they did force turnovers. I think Ant-Man had that trailing 3 ball in the final minute, I think, to cut it to 2, and it missed, and then 1 in the corner as well. So, but Lithuania just hang on. But if you ask me, it's good for the program, for Team USA, you know, to realize, and especially this World Cup team, that they are beatable. And that's when you play with maximum effort and you play with maximum heart, hustle, you know, when you know you're beatable. And that, and yeah, and I think Canada, a lot of these teams can give this team some problems. But the positive thing is that the Knicks are going to continue Hart and Brunson deep, you know, into this tournament, and it's going to be great, you know, for them to, you know, to experience more knockout basketball. Like, this is officially knockout now, as the Knicks are in the quarterfinals as well. Canada obviously qualifying for the Olympics was absolutely huge as well. And Team USA is also qualified for the Olympics. So that's excellent for the both programs. I think it's going to be the most competitive Olympics, you know, for a long, long time. You would expect, looks like Wembanyama is going to be with France. I think Team USA is going to call on their A team, Steph, Tatum, LeBron, probably Booker, and that's going to be great. You would expect the Joker to come over with Serbia. You'd expect Sabonis, if he's healthy, to be with Lithuania. Ben Simmons is talking about committing with Australia. I mean, Canada's going to get Jamal Murray, you know, Mathurin, probably Wiggins. Man, I'm looking forward to Paris already. Book your tickets to Paris, fam, because it's going to be great. Yeah, we'll hear from Barrett in a minute. We'll hear from Brunson. Shannon's thoughts on that were it not for RJ, Canada would have got buried in the first half. Yeah, Barrett started off really well, which is great to see. Didn't have it going later in the game, but yeah, started really well. 16 points, 5 rebounds. And we'll look at Barrett's chart. That's the website. They haven't put the right color. It's not as clear, but so yeah, Bully Barrett 8 in the corner there, a couple of 3 balls, and then the rest of his points at the bucket as well. And then he missed a couple of 3s in the elbow. But yeah, with that said, I'll pull up the box score and we can look at Barrett's stats. So yeah, the pleasing thing was Barrett was in the +9 again. Hit both free throws. 2 of 6 from deep, 4 of 6 from the field, and a 6 of 12 overall. 16 points, 31 minutes. Obviously, you see a monster game from SGA. You know, we know he's their go-to guy, but the second leading scorer was Dylan Brooks. He was 8 of 12. He went off late, hit 3 of 3 from deep. Basically helped save Canada late as well, was Dylan Brooks. I saw some people in the crowd clown him from the Latvia side, calling him Dylan Bricks. That was funny, but he showed out. Yeah, and you know, great for Barrett. He looks super happy, and what he's accomplished to make the Olympics now is something special. You know, and it's just going to be great for the New York Knicks to see him in the Olympics. Let's hear from him.
RJ, what does it mean to you to make the Olympics, man?
We're going to the Olympics, baby.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. You know, this is good. I told my dad I was going to get there, so now I'm happy. Let's go.
What do you think about the game? It was a very tough game, right?
Compared to your dad.
It was a tough game. It was fun, man. It was fun. You know, obviously to go up against Spain, like the history of their program. I mean, they're an amazing team. They gave us a battle all game.
What kind of changed in the fourth quarter for you guys?
I think we just dug deep. I mean, Dylan was huge. Shea iced the game, made all the free throws. We just dug deep, man. We hit some adversity, down 12 going into the fourth. We just had to stay together.
How do you think this game toughens you up for the next tournament?
It's definitely a tough game. I don't think it toughens us up. I just think it shows who we are. You know, we've always had that in us.
What are you going to do with your dad after tonight?
I mean, we're gonna pack and get out of here. But I'm gonna chill with him. You know, have dinner with him, and just I'm gonna tell him that I'm the second Barrett to go to the Olympics now.
Can you say something about Dylan Brooks' performance on both ends?
I mean, not surprised. Like he's been doing this his whole life. He's been playing well, man. And just for him to have a game like that was huge.
Yeah, that was great. Like like Dirty said, good to see him so happy. You know, and it's completely different to NBA playoffs, but it's the same feeling where it's like if you lose, you're going home. And they basically won, you know, in an elimination game. So there's a bit of that elation that you won and you're continuing in the tournament and then you qualified for the Olympics. So I think we saw that come out with RJ Barrett right there. You know, a lot of pressure. Obviously, his father is, you know, a big guy in the program. I think the general manager of Team Canada as well. So they'll play Slovenia and Luka Doncic now on Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. The USA game is 8:40 a.m. That's great timing, or you know, as good as it can be for our guys on the US on the East Coast. ESPN2, ESPN Plus. You guys are going to be glued in, buzzed in with that performance. You know, quarterfinals action. You know, RJ Barrett. This is as deep as he's gone for Team Canada as well. And good for us, the fact that I guess, like, we don't really have a horse in the race unless you're a Canadian. You don't really have a horse in the race. And in terms of Jamal Murray being out, it worked out better for us, I think. More reps for RJ, you know. And I know he had a down performance. I didn't get to chop up the previous game where he didn't perform. You know, he was inconsistent in that game. But what does RJ Barrett normally do? He bounces back after a bad one. I like to evaluate, a wider sample, this is tougher competition as well. But yeah, we absolutely want to see more consistency, and he's definitely a big part of this. Yeah, RJ Barrett did foul out as well late, which is the reason why he didn't really close the game out. Dylan Brooks obviously was money for Team Canada. But yeah, one of those things where we take for granted qualifying for the Olympics, such as how shallow Team Canada's history is. No shade, but they have not really qualified for the Olympics since 2000. So salute to them. Now they're going to face Luka Doncic in Slovenia, who got handed a brutal loss by Germany, who, Germany's my dark horse. They look really good, and without Franz. But I'm going to favour Canada in this one. I think they've just got a little bit too much depth. You're talking about Slovenia with Luka. He looked a little bit gimp with a tough thigh injury. I'm not sure how serious it is, but he's carrying that team. Obviously, with big usage as well. So that's going to be a great game. Wednesday, 8:30, RJ Barrett up against Luka Doncic and Slovenia, the quarterfinals. Should they get through, they'll face probably their toughest test yet against Lithuania, I'm going to guess, outside of Lithuania or Serbia. And then on the road to the final. And I do expect JB, Team USA, to get through Italy. And I think that Germany-Latvia game, I know Lithuania gave Team USA a good challenge, but I think that Germany-Latvia game is going to be legit. Germany have looked really good. I think Dennis Schroeder looks like a different guy, different cat in this FIBA game. If you look at his stats, he shoots the ball well. He's a physical guard. He drives well, and he's passing it great. They've got a lot of good big men as well. And then Latvia's shooting, ball movement, that's going to be crazy to see. But yeah, we talked about Paris, how interesting that's going to be if Canada bulk up. If they can get Wiggins and Murray in the house, that's going to be huge. Another year of RJ Barrett being in the NBA as well. Now, obviously, Team USA, Jalen Brunson there in practice with Mikal Bridges. No better guy to scrimmage against. And we look ahead of what's ahead for JB and Team USA. I think Italy's going to be not going to be as much of a challenge as Lithuania, but you just never know now. Like I'm not trying to predict anything after what we saw this morning with the shooting display of Lithuania. Obviously, Italy don't have Gallo. Paolo Banchero, they tried to get him to commit, but he chose Team USA. So, Italy's still got some good local players. They've got some shooters. But I do think Jalen Brunson has a good opportunity to cook in that game and really get going for Team USA with that one. And I do expect them to probably face Germany in that semi-final once they can get through. I think Germany's my tip to beat Latvia. I think it's going to be USA-Germany. And I think it's going to be Canada-Lithuania. Either way, it's going to be a great matchup. If it's USA-Canada or it's USA-Lithuania again in the final. That's what I think we might be able to see. Let's hear from Jalen Brunson.
And that's on me. I got to come ready to play. I got to have everyone else ready to play. And just respect to them. They play great.
What do you think about Lucas Jokubaitis? He's right below the Knicks club. Do you think he can play there?
Yeah, he's a great player. I played against him today. Got a lot of respect for him. It's just always great when you can play against players against the world. They got a lot of talent everywhere, so much respect to him. We waited too long to come.
Yeah, good accolades. Much respect to Rokas. Rokas looked physical, looked assured with the ball. Another lefty. Jalen Brunson going up against Rokas, the lefty. As we pull up the box score for Team USA, Jalen Brunson was a +4, efficient, not as efficient, but 4 of 10, 1 of 3 from deep, 3 of 7 from the field. But like I said, pulled out 7 assists. So no, he's not trying to take over, no tunnel vision. There was a lot of pressure, right? A shorter guard trying to get his shot over those bigger guys. The thing with Brunson is, in the NBA, what's he great at? He draws a lot of fouls. And in the FIBA game, you're able to bump them, knock them a bit more, and not get as many calls. So I think Brunson, you would think on the surface, could struggle a little bit against size. Now, to me, this shows that how tough he is to still have, a solid night against size. 23 minutes, not very big minutes, but I'll take it. He's into the quarterfinals now. He's leading this team. He hasn't lost his spot. He's still the starting point guard. 4 of 10. Like I said, he could have easily gotten a few more shots down the stretch, but that's not his role. It's Anthony Edwards, and it's the rest of the guys. One thing I'm noticing is, though, he's not shooting many threes, obviously. As we pull up his chart, yeah, he shot, just 2 3 balls, and then obviously living in the paint like usual. That's where he gets his looks, the drive-bys or the post-ups, post-up moves. Now, against Italy, I think he'll have a better game. I really do. I think, Lithuania's size and speed and tempo was something to look out for. Yeah, and I do think Jalen Brunson, is still, as the lead point guard, is still figuring things out with the team, and just learning his teammates as well, but just doing what he needs to do. To me, the 7 assists is the most pleasing thing. But early preview of the season, right? From a Knicks perspective, right? These guys are getting probably the closest thing to the most competitive basketball you could expect heading into an NBA season. And it's just great. Like the crowd, the atmosphere from the Lithuania fans, the US fans in the arena really created a great environment, and it was high pressure, no doubt about it, right? It came down to the wire. And once again, salute to Lithuania. Congratulations on their win. But it's of no consequence, really, for the USA, other than a little wake-up call. And I think that, they're going to really come out with a point to prove. Team USA, they hate losing any game, even if it's meaningless. And I think they'll take it out on Italy. I'm expecting a bit of a blowout, 15 points. Max, minimum blowout. What do you guys expect? Nick Yak, salute. USA, a player like Mitch, he would feast in FIBA. If I'm not correct, Mitch performed with USA select team. I think it was the previous time as well. So he's had a taste of the program before. Yeah, JJ, man, Canada would be scary if they got a full squad. For just a hoops fan in general, I think competition's always good, and I think the rest of the world at full strength is going to mean that the Olympics is great. Remember, only 12 spots available for the Olympics, so we saw teams like South Sudan claim the African spot. Salute to them. Japan claimed an Asian spot. Australia qualified under the Oceania. There's only 2 European spots that's going to go through, and I think a couple of the Americas spots. I was surprised that the Dominican Republic bowed out. Karl Anthony Towns has been amazing this tournament, but Puerto Rico gave them the business. and then Puerto Rico then went ahead to lose as well, and they're both knocked out now. But yeah, we've been seeing some crazy action for our guys. We're seeing, with the FIBA game, fam, with the 3-point line shorter, less spacing, you need some bigs. Now, I don't necessarily think they made the wrong selections. I think the World Cup, and this is according to a lot of people, I heard Brian Windhorst on the Hoops Collective talk about, he's seen a lot of these tournaments, and he thinks that the World Cup is the hardest tournament to win because of the format. The players, the stars don't always commit, and you see these wacky results. So I think they're definitely going to bolster the squad. That'd be interesting if Julius Randle commits. Mitchell Robinson, quite possibly. I do expect Bam Adebayo, maybe Anthony Davis to commit. Again, Paris, who wouldn't want to go there? I think that's why a lot of these guys are sitting out. They don't want, 2 off seasons in a row where they're kind of like giving it up as well. They're resting, and I think it's going to be a huge Paris Olympics. Yeah, Shannon, I agree. Germany's legit. Franz Wagner is out, but they've got Bonga, they've got Mo Wagner, they've got some other shooters, they've got Schroeder, Tice as well. Remember, they almost beat USA in a warm-up game as well. They beat Australia in a warm-up, and they've beaten Slovenia now. So I think, look, Dennis Schroeder's their go-to guy. If you take him out, they're very, very vulnerable. I think, but with Schroeder, he's the kind of guy that is seasoned pro in the NBA, FIBA game, and he knows what to do. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing USA's game against Italy, and I think the Canada-Slovenia game is going to be closer than ever. Slovenia do know how to milk some fouls as well. We know Luka's good at doing the old flop as well when he's not getting the calls. So, but you do have to sell it a bit more in this FIBA game. I've seen dudes get elbowed in the eye and still not get a foul call. We're seeing a lot of chippiness, a lot of arguing, and it just shows the passion. These guys are getting really into it. Did you guys see the Dennis Schroeder argument with the coach in the timeout huddle? Yeah, the coach blew his top. Schroeder was frustrated arguing with Tice, and he was like, sit the F down, and he touched Schroeder, grabbed him by the arm. Schroeder was having none of that as well, having these national team coaches tell him what to do as well. It's a different thing when you're representing your country. You're not really representing a paycheck, representing your club. It's you're representing, you want to win. You want to win badly. And you certainly don't want to get punked, on the international stage. Yeah, like Andrew says, Schroeder plays like an all-star in FIBA. I think it's more around, the team structured around him, the plays are run, and also with usage. When you're talking about a quality NBA player and you give them higher usage, you can really see what they can do. And I think that's going to be a story to tell. D Cool's in the house, what's good? Yeah, Latvia, Andrew, Latvia's impressed me a lot also. But we always, got to look at the bigger picture, right? I don't really have a horse in the race in terms of, game to game. Obviously, I want USA to go deep. I want Canada to go deep as well. But the experience, first and foremost, like Brunson's new to FIBA action, also is Barrett. So for these guys, the deeper they go, I think it's going to extend, obviously, into mid-September if they make the final. And I think basically Knicks training camp is going to be within less than a month. So that's going to have them in a groove. And I think that's just the best thing for the New York Knicks. These pressure games, gritting it out, toughing it out, and just learning what it takes to win in a different level of competition. And I think, remember, the playoffs were something that RJ Barrett has tasted now twice. Jalen Brunson got another taste. And I think, knockout ball now. It's lose and you go home. Overall. But, like we said, another big story is Rokas Jokubaitis. Right? Rokas Jokubaitis is someone who the Knicks have these draft rights. And I'm really excited from what I've seen. He's a guy who a lot of fans have been intrigued by. Intrigued to see what he's been doing overseas. And can he come over? Can he play? He's always been solid, as we saw in Summer League, but he's been playing for Barcelona, right? He's won the chip there, and he's won the Rising Star Award for that league. I think it was the Euro League. Last year he won the Rising Star. So he was drafted ahead of Deuce McBride. Also, some people have questioned that decision. What are the Knicks doing? Why did they draft and stash? But I guess it's great to see development. He's getting the minutes that he needed to actually get to where he is right now, and he's playing well. Also, shout out to former Knick Izzy Brasdegas. He had a couple of saucy moves. We know he never takes a step back. He was getting into people. He was getting physical. He's a bit one-dimensional. He's got the lefty move, the little crossover step back. Iggy. I think Iggy's out of the league now, but he had a cup of coffee. But all eyes are on Rokas now, leading his country. We can classify him as a New York Knicks player, basically. He can't play for any other franchise except the Knicks, unless we decide to trade him or, give up his draft rights. We have some footage, Julius Randle working out, giving us a peek into his workout with his trainer. He's been shooting about 20 threes a minute for almost 20 minutes, practicing catch and shoot threes when fatigued. That's courtesy of Playoff P Basketball and via Julius Randle's Insta Live. That's the skill set that's pushed Julius Randle forward in his career, to me, is the three-point shooting. Julius was just Julius, as people knew him, as a bully to the bucket and a physical guy, power forward, until 3 years ago, when he displayed a huge uptick in shooting. That's why I'm not giving up on guys like Barrett, not giving up on any guy to improve, because shooting is something that it may not happen overnight, but if you practice and you work, you put the work in, you could see a gradual uptick. We saw some of the worst shooters in history become solid shooters, at least catch and shoot or wide open. Talking about Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, some of these other guys you might mention. But one thing I really admire about Julius Randle is his conditioning. He always comes in svelte. Look how ripped he is, right? We don't have that issue that we have with Luka, with Harden, with some of these other guys. Zion, right? The issue with Julius mostly is playoffs and cerebral. But everything in terms of dedication, physicality, putting in the work, ever since Julius Randle got paid, he's basically delivered in terms of commitment. A commitment to his craft, commitment to his game as well. He usually gets over to Dallas and in the summer and he in the heat, and it's good for his conditioning. And like we said, he's putting up 23s per minute for almost 20 minutes while practicing when fatigued. And I love what trainers do with that, because you want to shoot threes when you're fatigued, right? Shooting threes in a gym when you're fresh, that's no simulation for the real thing, during a real game as well. But we talked about Julius being another lefty. We got RJ, we got Brunson, we got Julius. Imagine if we bring in Rokas, it'd be 4 lefties. Please don't tell me Dante DiVincenzo is a lefty. That'll be crazy. I think he's a right-hander though. Yeah, Dirty says NBA guys never miss in practice, even the scrubs. That's why it's important as a trainer to do it when you're fatigued, or simulate something, simulate the contested shot with the hand up as well. Yeah, salute Andrew. Got to give props to the scouting staff and for the Knicks for grabbing Rokas in the draft. Yeah. Did you guys watch Rokas when he played that year with the Knicks? Did you guys see that? I remember he didn't have a lot of minutes, but when he did play, he looked pretty solid. And this is going back at least 3 years, I'm going to say. I think it was, obviously Deuce McBride draft coming into his 3rd year. So, he's only 23. I think like what you're seeing now, guys, with FIBA, picture that environment, but picture that in Europe, in club basketball, where the crowd is crazy. The away fans are basically threatening you. There's fire in the stands. There's drums. There's people screaming. And he's playing like that every week for Barcelona. I don't think he's a player that's going to come in and going to be shook if it's the playoffs, or if he faces some kind of adversity. So the positive thing is, if and when Rokas were to ever come, I think he's going to be ready. He's not going to be one of those Luka Vildoza or someone who struggles to adjust. I think those Lithuanians are usually quite tough. Yeah, and I think we saw that last night or this morning going up against it. Also, in terms of just physique, size, he's NBA ready in terms of Rokas' size. JJ, what's good? I'm not seeing as much of a difference in RJ's game so far. I think, it's a different environment. Even if RJ was balling out, I would still take some of it with a grain of salt. And same as Brunson, because it's just not quite the same as the New York Knicks, and it's not the same as playoffs. So yeah, to your point, I can't read too much into FIBA. For me, the competition is the best thing about it. The conditioning, the fact that they're just going to be in really good shape for the training camp, I think is going to be the best thing about this. In fact, I could probably just classify this as extended preseason coming in. Yeah, we're seeing the Mitch gym videos for real, right? The shooting, the dunks, all of that. One thing I'll say though is, you could splash unlimitedly in the gym, but why do players shoot so much? It's muscle memory. That's all they're practicing, right? Catch and shoot. Let's say you're ready in a real game, and no defenders coming at you. It's just a simple not think about it, catch and shoot, and the muscle memory from all the reps you put in should help you shoot more consistently. I think, basically, you want to be consistent. I think with that said, and practice the form. With that, but in terms of decision making, right? I'm looking at Barrett's assist numbers: 5 rebounds, 16 assists. In terms of how many assists did RJ pick up? Let me pull up Canada's box score. So in 31 minutes, see, Barrett had 1 assist. So I know his role is to score on this team a lot, especially in that starting unit. I'm looking for an uptick in assists, playmaking. There we see the 5 personal fouls. RJ Barrett fouled out after 31 minutes. But I'm also looking at, is he a plus on the floor? While he's on the floor, is he helping defensively as well? He was a +9. So that's better. That's better, being a plus, 6 of 12. And being efficient. 2 of 6, not great from the three-point line, but better than some of the other games previously also. So, but yeah, playing against Luka Doncic, is RJ Barrett going to be tasked with defending Luka, right? Or do you guys think that Dylan Brooks might get that look? That's going to be really interesting. I think I would have to assume Luka gets that start. I mean, he gets that starting assignment on Luka. Outside of that, who's their other starting three? Alexander Walker, Lou Dort. In fact, Lou Dort might get that assignment. I would have to guess. If I'm going to guess, I'm going to say probably Lou Dort gets that assignment, right? You want Barrett not as gassed on the offensive end, right? If he's having to guard Luka, that's going to be challenging. So, but big minutes, it's a plus that Jamal Murray's not in the team. And yeah, we continue to see Bully Barrett, in the knockout rounds, which is just great. And also, like we said, qualifying for the Olympics. We've talked about Rokas Jokubaitis, Jalen Brunson's performance, and their loss to Lithuania. And we got some of these highlights, with Brunson going against Mikal Bridges, the lockdown wing. Man, his wingspan is insane. He had a couple of huge clean blocks on Rokas twice. That's something Rokas got to adjust to. That's the difference in the NBA game to the European game, is length of the defender, response time, quickness, all of those things, right? You don't have the same amount of time in the European game. I saw Rokas go up, thinking that he's got forever to shoot. Mikal Bridges just swat that out of here as well. I think Mikal Bridges has got more of a bag offensively than he can show, that he hasn't yet shown in this tournament. He had a nice pull-up from the foul line when USA really needed a bucket. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he ends up getting more looks on the offensive end. But I think Jalen Brunson is still going to be critical for this team down the stretch. When talking about these knockout games, and being in a situation where you just can't afford a hiccup, or you go home. Italy, I expect us to win, and then I expect us to face Germany against Dennis Schroeder. D. Cool says USA ready to get their lick back. A lot of trash talking in that game. Yeah, Lithuania feeling themselves, no doubt, after that one. Also, does this signal to the rest of the competition? Does this give them a little bit more of a pep, knowing that USA lost the game? I don't think it's going to matter regardless. I think it's going to come down to the final. I think it's either going to be Lithuania or Canada. I think they're the two teams that can give USA the biggest challenge in the final, and I think one of them will make it. If USA obviously pass Germany, I've written off Latvia quite a few times, like a lot of people. Maybe they have one more shock in them. But we talk about next year, guys. Imagine if Porzingis is on Latvia. I think Latvia would be another challenge, another level of a challenge over Lithuania if Kristaps was healthy, because he's a different cat to Jonas Valanciunas. He's got the same length, but he's got more mobility, and he can obviously shoot it from deep. Like, he could shoot it from the logo, basically, and that's scary for a 7'3" guy as well. Whereas, kind of Jonas Valanciunas was spamming the pump fake, but you kind of know what his ammo is. He's not really wanting to pull the trigger on those. He's hoping to get you off your feet and get to the bucket. And that's something that Jaren Jackson got to look at the scouting report as well. Try to stay out of foul trouble. And look, that could be the USA's ultimate undoing. If USA don't advance, it could be a lot of that resting on Jaren Jackson staying out of foul trouble. Did Triple J foul out? I'm not thinking he fouled out, but I think he was in foul trouble. Yeah, he did foul out. 5 fouls and basically 1 rebound, 5 fouls, was still a plus 16 in 15 minutes. So yeah, we're going to need more from him to help out in the big man department. But he's young, right? Good learning experience. I do want to salute each and every guy who's committed to this tournament, right? Because you're kind of going to get you're going to get trashed if you lose, you kind of got nothing to gain, a lot to lose. You win, you're expected to win. You get the gold, and you may get left out of the Olympic team. You give up your summer, all of that. And if you lose, you're like, hell, let's never get that player ever again. Look at Kemba, Spider, Tatum, some of those guys that lost in 2019. Joe Harris was on that team. Harrison Barnes, those guys aren't getting another chance. So that's why I salute these guys, right? I'm not taking much out of this loss. I think Lithuania shot the ball really well. Team USA almost had a chance to win. But I look forward to the next matchup. Salute to Brunson. And let's see if Josh Hart gets a bigger go. Yeah, appreciate you, Shannon. What's good? Yeah, on the shooting and the kid reference. Yeah, I think the book's not closed on the shooting. Now, we know a guy coming into the league, we know if he's a pure shooter or not. But on the flip side, some dudes who can be streaky can definitely become decent with practice, with reps and all of that, and with good coaching, good training and practice. Also, Jalen Brunson is another great example, actually, guys. Pretty solid as a 3-point shooter, catch and shoot even. No, not something he came into the league with that kind of skill set as well. So, yeah, lots of guys with that. Dirty says, I think RJ is looking a little more slippery on drives. Release point on the jumper is different too. Yeah, we could start to be seeing some more subtle adjustments. It's still the off season, and I think this has probably interrupted some of their training sessions. But I'll sign up for, if RJ starts the season consistent and solid, I'll sign up for that right now, because remember, we're used to getting a slower start to the season from Barrett as well. Shannon says on the FIBA action, helping your team win is big, especially for the young player. The game is different. Guys who aren't experienced have to adjust to the physicality. Yeah, and you can see how frustrating it is too, man. Because they're kind of misguided in the NBA in a way. Because I'm talking about guys like Luka. You breathe on them, and it's a foul. You breathe on James Harden, and it's a foul. The bigs are able to absolutely back you down and post you up, and still and not get a foul call. Sometimes you're able to bump them off their spot, especially these guards. So I've heard, especially Brian Windhorst also referenced on his pod about smaller guards don't have as much success in FIBA. Specifically, we look at Kemba Walker and we look at Spider Mitchell. They didn't have as much success. You see the size of the physical guards in FIBA. That's why it's impressive what Jalen Brunson is still doing, because he's able to use that physicality and still not get intimidated. Also, he's a good post-up guard, so he's got more to his bag. He's got more in his arsenal as well. You need that post-up game if you're a guard as well in FIBA, because that can help you run different actions. Knicks won. In terms of Bridges with the Nets, I feel like he's just a piece that they're hyping up because he's their best player. But truth be told, he's basically in terms of pecking order, he's no different to Barrett. I don't see Mikal Bridges any better than the third option on a championship team right now. Could that change? Absolutely. But he's kind of getting older in his career now. Great player, solid player, but third option on a championship team. Not a player you build around by any means, man. We'll see how that works out in the playoffs. You need an ice cold bucket getter. Speaking of bucket getters, we hit briefly on Anthony Edwards. From what I'm seeing I think it's a good bet to expect him to be in the running for most improved player this year. He can get a little tunnel vision, but in terms of just that ice cold scorer, he's going to be one of the best in the game. And sometimes you kind of need no conscience if you're going to just be a volume guy, a volume scorer. And I think Minnesota badly need that. That's going to be a situation where they're going to definitely try to make the play-in at least. Karl Anthony Towns had a great tournament, but he's now bowed out. So all eyes on Ant-Man. And I think, for USA to win the gold, I think Anthony Edwards is going to have to probably play some of his best action in the next 3 games to win the gold. I think it's crucial. Could there be a game Jalen Brunson leads scorers and takes over? I expect that's a possibility too. But in the end, I think USA want to move the ball better. They don't want to get stuck in isolation too much because it's going to be easier to defend for some of these European countries with bigs. They can stack the paint and pull in those rebounds and block the paint. And that's another point we've made also too, guys, with the no defensive 3 seconds. So that's another reason why FIBA is so different. You see maybe less drives, less fouls because guys aren't willing to get into the paint and drive with the paint clogged. We're seeing a lot of zone also with that. But I'm excited. These guys are advancing. That's kind of what as a Knicks fan, I would have hoped for Canada and USA to get to the quarters, and deeper into this action with higher pressure. And man, these games are going to get exciting. They're going to get spicy. If you guys haven't checked it out, search up the Dennis Schroeder Germany huddle as well. I hope the NBA can adopt some more of that instead of giving us all these commercial breaks. Give us some of that action in the huddle. Because, the F-bombs were flying and the passion, the energy was crazy. And you're going to see a lot of that in the NBA if we did get to see the cameras in the huddle. Austin Reeves, he's been good so far, but he was getting abused defensively, getting posted up. But on the break, him with Tyrese look great, getting up and down, and those guys, picking up the slack off the bench, 100%. I kind of expected more from Tyrese Halliburton as well. When it comes to scoring as well, USA really needed Tyrese to score some more as well. He's kind of just popping the 3 ball when he's open, but he's not driving as much either. And I think our other guy, Josh Hart, Josh Hart's good at pushing the break. He tried to run coast to coast and got the ball swatted back by Valanciunas. So he got a dose of that size, and Valanciunas absolutely stuffing it back in his face. But I think, Josh Hart only played, 13 minutes. I think this Italy game is going to be an opportunity for him to play more. I feel no points, 2 rebounds, coming off a 12 rebound game previously in the tournament. So another Nick, Josh Hart, got the contract, has played fairly well in terms of his role on this team. He's not known as a go-to guy, and he's not going to be, probably on the floor late in games, because I think USA will want guys that are 5 out. I think they'll want guys that can all shoot and stretch the floor. We'll see. But it might just be matchup dependent. And with that, RJ Barrett now playing Slovenia. I expect him to be the second leading scorer or usage guy offensively. I think Lou Dort, Dylan Brooks might take on the Luka assignment. You shut him down, and I think Canada will get through. So could we see RJ Barrett in the semi-finals of a World Cup, already qualified for the Olympics? This is great exposure, great opportunity. He looked happy as Larry as well, as we'll pull that up again and just see RJ Barrett reaction.
RJ, what does it mean to you to make the Olympics, man?
We're going to the Olympics, baby. Yeah. Man, that's crazy. This is good. I told my dad I was going to get there.
Get those Olympic rings.
Yeah, I'm happy. Let's go.
What do you think about the game? It was a very tough game, right?
Compared to your dad.
It was a tough game. It was fun, man. It was fun. Obviously to go up against Spain, the history of their program. They're an amazing team.
Big win against Spain.
What kind of changes in the fourth quarter for you guys?
I think we just dug deep. Dylan was huge. Shea iced the game, made all the free throws. We just dug deep, man. We hit some adversity. Down 12 going into the fourth. We just had to stay together.
How do you think this game toughens you up for the next tournament?
It's definitely a tough game. I don't think it toughens us up. I just think it shows who we are. We've always had that in us.
What are you going to do with your dad
toughness.
tonight?
RJ Barrett shot chart there.
We're going to pack.
Couple of 3 balls.
But I'm gonna chill with him, have dinner with him, and I'm gonna tell him that I'm the second Barrett to go to the Olympics now.
Can you say something about Dylan Brooks' performance on both ends?
That's not surprised. He's been doing this his whole life. He's been playing well, man. Just for him to have a game like that was huge.
Yeah. So in terms of Barrett's performance, right, he kept Canada coming out the gate strong, scored well early. 6 of 12 and 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 6 from deep. I wanted to see his assists go up. 5 rebounds is decent. +9 is good as well. But hey, in terms of minutes, 31 minutes, that just goes to show how much they trust him. Second leading minutes, but of course fouled out with 5 fouls. So that's something to watch moving ahead. Is RJ Barrett picking up these ticky-tack fouls? Obviously, someone's got to pick up the fouls because you want to defend and you got to be physical in these matchups. Otherwise, these guys will take advantage. But yeah, a couple of shots in the corner there. RJ Barrett, has been efficient with the Knicks shooting the corner ball more. Not as much straight on, so the elbow and the corner is something I hope we see a huge uptick for this upcoming Knicks season. Lemmy, what's good? Mindaugas Kuzminskas, former Knick. He's obviously been playing overseas still. He's 33, but we did see a glimpse in terms of his game, and we've seen it before in the past. With his ability to stretch the floor. He got lucky with that deep 3 ball. But yeah, what did you think of Rokas? Was impressed by him. Iggy Brasdegas, solid pro, no longer in the NBA, but I think his game's more suited to FIBA, actually, with Iggy. He's a hybrid combo forward, 6'7", able to get to the rim, shoot a little bit. But man, Lithuania next year with Sabonis, that would have to be a favourite to medal, in my opinion. Obviously Serbia with the Joker, We look at what Serbia are doing with no joker. They're going to have Bogdanovic, Jokic next year, the joker. Lithuania will have Sabonis together with another year of Rokas experienced. Germany are obviously going to have Franz Wagner as well. So, I mean, man, you can't sleep on any of these teams right now. They'll cook you straight out. We talked about Latvia as well. I kind of feel for Slovenia in a way because, yeah, they got Luka, but the rest of their team's not as strong. I know they're such a small country, 2 million people, population. But you kind of think if Luka had another big sidekick, Slovenia would be a favourite to medal a lot all the time, I think. But that's the landscape, quarterfinals. They're the games, Tuesday, Wednesday, coming at you. And I think, yeah, USA just got to move the ball, got to play as a team, can't get tunnel vision. And I think their athleticism and defense, getting stops, is what's going to help. I'm looking to see, hopefully, Barrett close the game out, whether Canada win or lose. I want to see him be efficient, not get in foul trouble, close the game out, defend well, yeah, and pick up more than one assist. You know, obviously when he's driving, I'm sure the paint's packed. I'm sure there are some, a kick-outs and assists to be had as well. So that's something I'm looking for with Barrett, some evolution of his game as well. What's good, D? Cool. On the Australian team, you're disappointing for my thoughts on that. They lost a close one to Germany, which in the group phase, and with no Wagner. So that was disappointing. But the Australian team's kind of in a transition. Their best players from the previous Olympics are older now, and they've got a few young players coming through. In terms of the Australian team, though, they missed shooting. I think they had too many of the same players in terms of wings that don't shoot. Thibault, Josh Green, Dyson Daniels, Dante Exum. They just didn't have enough shooting, I think. And also their starting centre got injured in the warm-up games and was out of the tournament as well. So they were also kind of similar to the US with going as small ball. A lack of size for them. I think in this FIBA game you need to take 3 bigs. If I'm keeping it a buck, if I'm running any program, I'm bringing in 3 bigs, like proper bigs. Not talking about 4s playing 5s and all of that. I'm talking about proper big men. And I think if USA bring in Bam, who else can they bring? I mean, we'll see how Kessler Walker continues to do. Walker Kessler, I keep getting it mixed up. Jaren Jackson, right? No rebounds. You can't live with that. You need size. So that's a learning experience too. And I think the Australian team also learned a lot this tournament. Of course, there's been more upsets. We saw France bow out. And I think next year France are going to come back with Victor, Joel, and Rudy Gobert, possibly if Joel Embiid can get that citizenship, or naturalization. I think they're going to be scary. And I think that's one of the reasons why Lithuania is so good. When you got elite big men that can pass the ball and score in Jonas and Sabonis. You guys let me know in terms of USA, like if you were picking big men for next year's Olympics, who are the big men you're selecting? And you can also use this World Cup as a platform as well, based on what we have seen. Because if USA come into the Olympics next year with this lack of size, they best believe they're going to face some problems, I think, against these other big men, I think. Of course, I can't forget about the Joker as well. Assuming the Joker is with Serbia next year, they're definitely going to need Bam Adebayo. And even then, he was no match in the playoffs. Yeah, what did you see from Australia too? Dirty says Giddy got to start hitting those bunnies. The problem with Giddy is also another guy who just can't shoot. Right, he definitely impressed me. Took his game to another level with the drives and finishes. But yeah, he needs to get a 3-point shot badly. My worst fear is that he's a better Ben Simmons. Like he's just another 6'9" tall point guard with no jump shot. And you just can't deal with that. It just puts you on a 4-on-5 situation as well. So yeah, Australia needs shooting badly. I am more optimistic about their future because you guys will see in the next 2 drafts, there's a couple more Australian top prospects coming through. A shot creator, Tyrese Proctor from Duke, is projected to be a top 10 lottery pick in this upcoming 24 draft. Australia also have a 7'3" centre, 17-year-old right now, who's playing NBL action as a pro for his first year as well. So there's big hopes for him as well with his size. Dyson Daniels' brother is also another player coming up. He's 15 right now. He's expected to make the league. And then, of course, Ben Simmons has gone on record as to commit for Australia with the Paris Olympics. But I don't see a fit between Giddy and Ben Simmons. Like, who are they going to pass to? Paddy Mills is going to be 36 next year as well. He's lost a step also. Yeah, also they struggled sort of with the passing of the torch. Yeah, Paddy Mills, 35, still high usage. He should have been a bench player kind of coming in, like what the USA did with Brandon Ingram. Took him out of the starting lineup to come off the bench and put up buckets as well. I think that was the best fit. That's a good name, Julius Randle. I couldn't forget. Should Julius Randle get the look in, one of the best power forwards for USA. Imagine him, Brunson, Josh Hart again. 3 New York Knicks in the Olympics. Can't forget about Mitchell Robinson. He should seriously get a look. I mean, if he's interested, he'd be great in the FIBA game, I think. No 3 seconds in the paint. Imagine Mitch, a block nest monster, just sitting in the paint, ready to swat, and you can knock the ball off the rim. And he's also an elite rim threat, lob threat as well. Imagine Tyrese Halliburton throwing half-court lobs to Mitchell Robinson on the break. I think, yeah. A better post defender as well, I think, than Jaren Jackson. Also, the 5 fouls might not be good for Mitch, though. That's something to look out for as well. Josh Green had flashes, was a little underwhelming for me. I expected a little bit more. Again, a player that's trying to find his jump shot right now. I think Dante Exum for Dallas impressed me a little bit more. Dante Exum's jump shot has come along a little bit as well. He's going to be a good guard for them coming off the bench on the minimum. Look at Julius Randle, small ball 5, could be solid. We know he's a good rebounder. Not as good of a shot blocker. But obviously the 3-point shooting at the 5 spot is great for Julius too. If I was Team USA, he'd be someone I would seriously look at. 100%. Yeah, Looney. Okay, Looney, Zeller, Mitch. Yep. I could see that. Looney can shoot a little bit. Zeller, not as much. Mitch. Of course, yeah, AD. AD size. What about Miles Turner? Miles Turner, of course, we know, in a part of the unsuccessful 2019 World Cup team with the Kemba Walker squad. Miles Turner's game is still good for the FIBA action, I feel. Shot blocking, 3-point shooting. It'd be tough to put all of that on Miles Turner and the failure of 2019. But the players got to be interested, of course. You know, they might no longer want to be part of it anymore with that. But yeah, like we said, I tell you what, Team USA better get some bigs, because next year, Wembanyama, Embiid, Porzingis, Joker. We didn't get to see Karl Anthony Towns matched up against Team USA, but I'm gonna feel like Karl Anthony Towns could have given them some problems, pulling the guys out from the paint. Shot the ball really, really well. With that, for this tournament. So yeah, with that said, man, we'll get ready to wrap this thing up as the New York Knicks technically advanced to the quarterfinals. Talking about Rokas Jokubaitis as well. In basically all groups of the bracket, we have former Knick teams all over this World Cup with their imprint on it. And I look forward to Tuesday, Wednesday coming at you. We'll break it down. Turner's got some rebounding issues also. Look, Team Canada is going to be scary, and if I honestly, nothing's changed. If I see USA not winning gold, it'll be because of Canada. And I think next year is going to be interesting if Murray and Wiggins can commit. But yeah, for RJ Barrett, good for him. Congrats. Made the Olympics. Same with Team USA. Can't forget that they've qualified as well. The FIBA World Cup's basically just a warm-up to what is the Special Olympics in terms of the gold in basketball. The cream of the crop will come. But I hope Jalen Brunson, for all his efforts, all his work, USA can win this tournament. Yeah, and pull out the gold as well. Being the starting point guard is going to be big. And let us know, Replay Gang, in the comment section. The streets are buzzing, smashing that like button. Knicks training camp about a month away, 6 weeks away, as this tournament is ready to wind up soon, but not before the classic game's about to hit. And was the loss today a wake-up call for USA? They've got to figure some things out and get that ball moving as well. I think Anthony Edwards late in the fourth can take over, but they've got to get the ball moving. And we'll see Jalen Brunson, 7 assists today. We'll see him pick up more, hopefully. With that said, appreciate the chat. Salute to all Replay Gang. And let's get it on the next one. Peace.